guys, welcome back to Hike Oregon. Today's video is going to be the 2018 end of year question and answer video. So 2018 was a huge year for Hike Oregon, and a lot of you guys asked some awesome questions, but it was mainly about the future. So before I start answering any of the questions, I wanted to touch on some of the things that happened for Hike Oregon this year. In the beginning of the year, in April, I actually moved to Bend, Oregon for 3 months, and I did this purely for Hike Oregon, purely so that I could spend 3 months over there hiking and exploring all the different trails that aren't necessarily accessible to me when I'm over here in Eugene. Eugene is about 2.5 to 3 hours from Bend. So while I was over there, I was able to access a ton more trails that are just really close to Bend and the Sisters area. So that was a huge thing for Hike Oregon, and I'm so excited to start writing about all of those trails. In 2018, I also planned and went on my Pacific Crest Trail trip. I planned on doing the whole Oregon section, and there was a lot of prep. You guys probably saw my PCT prep videos. There was months and months of prep for that over 400-mile trip. However, the trip did not pan out as we had hoped, so I only ended up doing about 100 miles of the trip, but it was amazing. And because it was cut short, I actually got to do a lot of other awesome trips that summer as well. In 2018, I went on a total of 95 different hikes here in Oregon, which is just beyond belief for me. I was hoping to do about 1,000 miles this year, but because I didn't do the entire stretch of the Oregon PCT, I didn't actually hit that goal, unfortunately. I didn't even make it to 700. I was really close. I was a little less than 20 miles away from hitting 700 miles in 2018. Last but not least, my biggest accomplishment for 2018 was writing a book. I wrote this guidebook, 52 Hikes for 52 Weeks in the Willamette Valley, Central Cascades and Coast. And this is an awesome book that I spent, I would say, about 1.5 years putting together. So it was definite labor of love, and I'm so excited and happy to be finished with this, and I think it turned out really, really great. I made a whole video about the book and what's in it, and I basically flipped through the whole thing. So if you're interested in seeing what's in this book, I will link that video right here. Okay guys, let's get to the questions. I have this piece of paper here. There's a little over 20 questions, so let's get started. David K from YouTube asks, are you still shutting down your YouTube channel at the end of the year? If you've been following me for about a year or a little bit over, last spring you may have seen that I put out a video where I was basically opening up to you guys about the struggles of YouTube and how insanely time consuming it is, and how I wasn't getting to spend a lot of time with my family and wasn't having time to work on the website, which is my true passion. I was basically getting ready to quit YouTube. In the video, I talked about how I was going to slow down towards the end of the year, and then in 2019 I was going to basically stop making YouTube videos. So a lot of you guys did ask about that, because many of you saw that I wasn't really slowing down the YouTube, so obviously there's going to be some questions about that. So the truth about this is, in the summer I got the chance to meet Darwin, who is the creator of the channel Darwin on the Trail, and he is an absolute mentor to me, and I look up to him so much. He creates the most amazing content, and I got the chance to do some PCT trail magic for him and his friend, and we talked for a couple of hours. It was so nice to have that like one-on-one time with him and get to talk about creative things and, you know, the hiking YouTube world that we're in. He did convince me to not quit the Hike Oregon YouTube channel, so you can all go to Darwin's channel and thank him that I'm not quitting the YouTube channel. Basically what I did do is, instead of posting twice a week, I did slow down to posting once a week, and I completely stopped putting pressure on myself to grow the channel. When I was first starting YouTube, there was immense pressure for me to grow the channel, and I started making videos twice a week, which is an insane amount of work, and thus I got burnt out and didn't really want to do it anymore. So even if I don't have time to upload a video that week, I don't put pressure on myself to do it. I will just say, there's not going to be a video this week. I don't care. I don't think anyone else really cares. So there isn't that pressure. And eliminating that was a complete game changer and has made me really enjoy doing YouTube videos again. I did also eliminate filming every single hike that I go on. Filming each hike that I went on really started taking away from the enjoyment of hiking, and so I stopped that completely. I only film if I'm backpacking because I do have more time out there and I feel like I'm not filming the whole hike. And then I do film like if I'm with my siblings, or if I feel like it's a really awesome hike that I want to show you guys, I will film that. But it's pretty rare that I've been filming my hikes. So that has been eliminated, and that eliminates a lot of pressure as well. So long story short, I will be continuing the Hike Oregon YouTube channel. From my YouTube numbers and analysis, it looks like the informational videos do get watched more versus the hiking vlog. So I will put a little hiking vlog in there every once in a while, but it's not going to be like 1 week an informational video, 1 week a hiking vlog. I think that's going to taper off here pretty soon, just because I'm not filming every single hike. So if you have suggestions on informational videos that you'd like to see, just comment those below. Zeke, you from YouTube asks, are you going to do the PCT next year? So I did get a lot of questions like this one, especially after I came back from my Pacific Crest Trail trip and you guys saw that I didn't do the whole section that I had planned to do. Everyone was asking, are you gonna do the Oregon section next year? The answer is no, absolutely not. I have no desire to do the Oregon section of the PCT again. At this point, I've done numerous sections, like 2 to 3 to 4 times, just with all the hiking that I've done. So I really have no desire to do that again, or to do those sections again. It really starts getting repetitive, especially with all the hiking that I do in the area. Plus, it did take me 2 years to save up that vacation time, so I just don't have that kind of vacation anymore. Grizz in the Woods from YouTube asks, any plans to do a through hike of any of the long distance trails? The answer to that is probably not at this point. I don't really know why everyone thinks that just because you hike on YouTube that you're automatically a through hiker. I have no intentions of being a through hiker. I think it's absolutely incredible. Honestly, I would love to do it if it were feasible, but for me, it's just not feasible. So it's just not a goal for me. I do work a full-time job. I only have 2 weeks of vacation a year. I'm the sole income provider for my family. I just don't have the option to like just quit my job and do a through hike. It's not even really in the back of my mind. I mean, who knows in 10, 15 years if I still love that kind of thing? Sure, maybe at that point it could be feasible, you know, save up some money for like 5 years or something, sure. But at this point, it's just not a big enough goal for me to save up that kind of money or vacation or to plan something like that. So the answer is no. PNW Adventures and Gear Reviews from YouTube asks, if you could only pick one area to go on a 4-day backpacking trip in Oregon, where would it be and why? That is a really, really difficult question, but I did put it in here because for me right now, so if I could choose, that's not necessarily like what I would recommend, but if I could choose a 4-day backpacking trip in any area right now, I would do a loop in the Wallowas. Now, if you are traveling to Oregon and you want to do a 4-day backpacking trip, I would recommend to you the Three Sisters Loop. I think the Three Sisters Loop is absolutely fantastic, and you get so many different types of terrain. So I really think doing a loop like that really shows off the beauty of Oregon. Jason H from YouTube asks, what is your favorite waterfall hike and what's the best season to hike it? Goodness, that is so difficult as well. Oregon has about 250 known and named waterfalls, and of course probably thousands of undiscovered and unnamed beautiful gems. So to pick one is just so hard, but I'm trying to think about, if you're traveling to Oregon, what you would definitely need to see, and that is Silver Falls State Park. If you have not been to Silver Falls State Park, it is absolutely phenomenal. There is a loop called the Trail of 10 Falls, and you literally see 10 waterfalls on this 8-mile loop. It's absolutely fantastic. And the best season to do most waterfall hikes, I would say, is winter and spring. Most waterfall hikes are in lower elevations, so they are hikeable in the winter. Although I will say, if you are into taking photos, spring sometimes isn't the best season to go look at waterfalls because they are so strong that the spray from the waterfall can completely obscure your lens if you're taking photos. So I would say winter is probably the best time to go see waterfalls. It's Just Me from Instagram asked, would you eventually want to travel out of the state or country to do hikes for your business? That's a great question, and I get that asked a lot. And the answer is totally. For the past 5 years, I've really just been focusing on Oregon because there are thousands of trails here to explore. For a while, I think I will just stick to Oregon. I would love to explore Washington, Idaho, and some of California as well. But again, those places are much further away than trails I haven't even explored 3 to 4 hours from where I live. So that's mainly the reason I haven't done it. I have actually done a lot of hiking outside of the US. I've hiked in Greece, I've hiked in Germany, Switzerland, Italy, hiked in the Alps. So I don't think I will be doing any trips for hiking outside of the country anytime soon. Of course, every time I do visit my family in Germany, we do go hiking over there. Wilderness Field Journal from YouTube and MHF Howell from Instagram asked, what big hikes do you have planned for 2019? Okay, so there are so many hikes on my list, but the main big ones as far as like backpacking goes are the Rogue River Trail, which is 40 miles long, the North Umpqua Trail, which is 70 miles long, and then the Timberline Loop, which is 40 miles long. So those are the 3 hikes that I will definitely be doing. I don't think I have time for a lot of other backpacking trips this next summer because I will be moving, so I know that takes a lot of time. So I will be taking a lot of my vacation for that moving process. So I don't think I have a lot of time to backpack this summer, but those are the 3 trails that are definitely on my list for this next year. May4887 from Instagram asks, any new tattoos in the works? Probably not. I do have some ideas and I do have an artist picked out for my next tattoo. I would eventually really love to get something on my thigh. I think that looks really amazing, and I have quite big legs, so I have a lot of canvas to work with, which is really cool, especially the other parts of my body. Where I've gotten tattoos, I don't necessarily have a lot of room, so a lot of my tattoos aren't that big. So I think I would love to get something on my thigh, and I already have the artist picked out. I'll show us some examples right here. I'm thinking it'll be some sort of flower artwork. I don't think that will happen in 2019. Again, I'm saving up to move, so that's very expensive. So I don't think it'll happen in 2019, but you never know. I know I just got a random tattoo when I was in Bend, and that one totally wasn't planned, so you never know. Ryan Watson from YouTube asked, if you weren't able to hike, what activity would take its place? Brian, really, that's an awful question. Awful. If I wasn't able to hike, I would cry, first of all, for probably a year. But I'm trying to also think, like, if I weren't able to hike, does that mean I'm like in a wheelchair? Like, what scenario would make me not be able to hike? I'm not sure. Okay, so let's just pretend maybe I don't have legs anymore or something. Something happened to my legs. Okay, but I have full range of like my body. Let's hope I'm not like completely paralyzed. So let's just say I have no use of my legs, I can't hike. What activity would take its place? And that would definitely be music. I am a musician, for those of you who don't know. I play a lot of instruments and I sing, so I think I would re-pick up, you know, playing the saxophone and the violin, and I would probably just spend hours and hours practicing music like I used to before I got into Hike Oregon. So that would be my non-hiking activity. I don't really have time to do a lot of that right now just because Hike Oregon is such a full-time job on top of my full-time job. The music has kind of just fallen to the wayside, unfortunately, but yes, that would be my non-hiking activity. David A. from Facebook asked, what initially got you into hiking and what are the top 3 things that has kept you hiking? Okay, so he asked 2 questions, but that was the first one. I have gone through my entire story on how I got started hiking. That would be, I think, in like the first Get to Know Hike Oregon video. So I can link that here and you can see kind of what my story was. It's kind of long, so I'm not going to go into it here, but I did want to answer what 3 things have kept me hiking. Well, the big one obviously is that I started Hike Oregon. When I first started hiking, obviously Hike Oregon didn't exist. I did start Hike Oregon about a year after I really started hiking every weekend. So that is the number 1 thing that keeps me hiking, is Hike Oregon. I basically have to hike to create new content, right? So that's the number 1 thing. The second thing would be photography. I love taking photos, but I don't necessarily like, you know, in-town photos. That's not my ideal photography. I really love nature, landscapes, like macro plant photography, that kind of thing. So I have to be outside, I have to be in nature to take those kind of photos. So that's the number 2 thing that keeps me going hiking every weekend. The third thing I think would be like mentally. I just love going out there and experiencing a new trail, new sights, new sounds, new smells, like a new adventure. I just love that. And mentally it is so nice to just disconnect from your phone. I generally don't have phone service wherever I go, so it's so nice to get out and disconnect and just chat with a friend and just, you know, look around in awe of the beauty of nature. I think that is really healthy and it just clears my mind and gets me all set for the week. And his second question was, what advice do you have beyond just get out there and do it for hikers with competing commitments like work, kids, events, random work schedules, etc.? What do you recommend as strategies for getting outdoors when life seems to keep you away? That is a really, really good question, and I don't really know the answer to that because I don't have those competing commitments. I mean, yeah, I kind of do. You know, I could stay home and clean the house or do laundry or meal prep like a normal wife should, right? But I don't. I go out and hike instead because hiking is that important to me. It's so hard because, yeah, I would probably just say you have to just get out there and do it. Oh gosh, that's really hard. I think people have different priorities. You know, if you have kids, obviously your kids are your number 1 priority. Obviously, if I had kids, I wouldn't hike every weekend. The kids would be my number 1 priority. But I've chosen this lifestyle and these lack of other commitments so that I can go out and backpack and hike and do that whenever I want to. But of course, that's not for everyone. It does mean that I don't have children. It means that I don't get to go to my son's soccer game, you know? It means that I don't get to breastfeed my daughter. There are sacrifices that come with this lifestyle for sure. So I don't want to say that, like, you know, sucks for you because you've chosen these commitments. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say everything that you've chosen in your life kind of comes comes with different sacrifices. And so if you do have multiple children that are doing sports and stuff, then maybe you have to go to their games, you know? Or something that I know some parents do is they don't go to every game. Maybe they'll switch off with a spouse, like, hey, why don't you take this game and I'm gonna go hike because I need to clear my head. It's good for my mental sanity. Like my friend, for example, she has three kids. Her kids play sports and stuff, and she obviously goes to all their games, but eventually she's like, I need to go clear my head. I need to go hike to be that amazing mother that she is. So I think that's really important to like know about yourself. When does it go from, hey, I just want to go have fun and go hiking, to I have to get outside for my mental sanity? When are you going to be a better parent? By going to hike. I used to go hiking with someone who was a stay-at-home mom, and she homeschooled her kids. So she's with her kids 24/7. When you have that kind of commitment, you have to make sure to take care of yourself and fill your cup before you can fill everyone else's cup. You know what I'm saying? But it's really hard. I understand. I totally get it. There isn't infinite amount of time, and there are always so many things to do in daily life. But I think just making it a priority when you know you have to. And also you can involve your kids. So if you do have kids and let's say they're not doing sports, but you know, they want to hang out on the weekend, take them with you. Take them on a hike. Take your spouse on a hike. Just maybe try to incorporate those life things that are maybe keeping you from hiking and bring them hiking with you. And maybe don't put so much stress on yourself, like, I want to go hiking every single weekend. Maybe make it more of a monthly thing or every other month. That way people won't resent you for going hiking, because I know that can happen too. If you go hiking every single weekend, you don't want your family to resent you and then resent hiking and all of that. That's not good either. Maybe sit down with your family and like set some expectations. Be like, hey, this is my hobby. I would really like to go enjoy this every once in a while. Would you like to come with me once a month? Or, you know, I'll go every other month. Just maybe like talk to your family about that, and that could really help things. That question was really difficult to answer, and I'm sorry if I didn't do a very good job. Jeff from Instagram asked, with your busy schedule, do you have plans to hike the Wallowas in 2019? So the Wallowas have been on my list for years now, and unfortunately they are so far away. To get there, it is really kind of a weird, out of the way that you drive, so it is not convenient whatsoever. I haven't gone there just because when I go, I want to spend like 10 days exploring the area. I think it is such an amazing area and there's so much to see there that I don't really just want to go over there and drive all that way to just hike for 2 days. I mean, I guess that's better than nothing, but I know that when I get there, I'm gonna be like, well, now I have to go back 7 more times to see everything else. So I'd rather just save up some vacation and make sure to go there and just spend like 10 days or 2 weeks in the Wallowas. Unfortunately, with my busy schedule and 2019 is already like completely filled up, I don't think it's going to happen in 2019. It'll most likely happen in 2020, or maybe not even, because I think I have other plans for 2020. I was going to do the John Muir Trail, but again, you need a permit for that, so who knows? If I don't get the permit, maybe that won't pan out. So I don't know. I would love to do the Wallowas in 2019, and if anything like clears up with my schedule or something miraculous happens, I will go there for sure, but right now it's probably not in the cards for 2019. Unfortunately, I'll have to wait a little longer. Kim R from Facebook asked, what's your favorite hike? I hate this question. absolutely hate this question because I get it all the time, and it's like, how do you pick a favorite? Like, I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hikes. I did almost 100 hikes this year alone. How do you pick a favorite? You can't. You really can't. I did leave this question in here because I wanted to say that my favorite hike changes all the time. Sometimes it's the most recent hike I went on, and sometimes it's like, oh yeah, that I can think of that hike, that's one of my favorites. So I will say that my favorite hike from 2018 was summiting Diamond Peak. I did it twice in the fall and absolutely loved every second of it. I love that hike. It was by far my favorite hike of the entire year. Chuck J from Instagram asked, how many days a week do you hike? This is funny because I think people think that I hike like every day. I do not hike all the time. I do have a full-time job and I'm a wife and we own a house and there's projects and stuff to do. So I hike once a week, one day a week. It might look like I adventure full-time. I don't even know why it would look like that, but I think to some people it looks like I am out all the time. I do try to hike in new places every time I do hike, so maybe that's why it looks like I'm out all the time, because I'm constantly showing pictures of new places. But yeah, I hike once a week, generally Saturday or Sunday. If I have a 3-day weekend, sometimes I might get 2 hikes in a week, but that's pretty rare. Because I did live in Bend this year for 3 months and was there purely for hiking, I did set up my schedule so that I could hike 4 to 5 days a week. So that's why I was able to do so many hikes while I was over there. But that's not usual. That's not my everyday life at all. I was really only able to do that in Bend because I rented a room at an Airbnb, so I didn't have any chores. I didn't have animals to tend to like I do at home. I didn't have a husband that I needed to cook for. Like, I didn't have all these things that take up my time. I devised my own schedule because I was working from home, so I got up really early. I got up at 6 a.m., started working, and I was off by 2, so then I could go hike. So I was able to get in a lot of hikes, plus stuff over there is so much closer. So I was able to hit a trail that was 20 minutes away from the house. That's how I was able to do so many hikes this year, but that is definitely not the norm. Stephanie B from Instagram asked, have you ever thought about working with others in Oregon to cover more regions? I get this question a lot as well, and the answer is yes, and I am working with someone who is going to cover some Southern Oregon trails for me and write about them and give me that information to put on the website. I did put this out there on my Facebook page and literally no one replied except for this one person, which I totally understand. People don't want to take the time to write a trail write-up for free. Obviously, I don't have money to pay people to go out there and explore and write about it. Another factor is that I have a really hard time putting something on my website that I didn't write. I have no way of vetting that trail. I have no idea if it's correct information. It could be absolute gibberish and I wouldn't know it because I haven't hiked that trail. That's another reason why I haven't really put it out there too much as far as people writing for the website. I want information that I know is accurate. I want good photos. I have a certain look and a certain way I do my write-ups. And I think if I had a bunch of authors on my website, it would get really messy. And obviously it wouldn't be vetted information because I haven't hiked it. I am liable, obviously, if it's information on my website, I need to know if it's accurate. So it's kind of hard and it's a tricky issue. But yes, I do have someone who's very interested in writing about Southern Oregon trails, and I've been doing more Southern Oregon trails, so that is definitely something that's coming in 2019. Sonia asked, how have you dealt with sadness because you can't live where you want to yet? Some advice from someone who is in my shoes would be great. Okay, so Sonia is talking about the fact that I've been wanting to move to Bend since I was 17 years old. My heart has been yearning to live in Bend since I was 17. So 15 years So that's a long time, and she's kind of in that situation right now as well. She won't be able to live where she wants to for quite some time, and that's really, really, really hard. And I know it can make you really, really sad. The last few years I haven't really been okay with it, but the reason I was kind of okay with my situation before was because I was in Eugene because of my siblings. My siblings are a lot younger than me, and I had made the decision to stay in Eugene until they were graduated from high school, to be there for them. So because I had this other purpose of being in Eugene, I was fine with it. I was mentally okay with, okay, I'm here for this reason. But as soon as that reason was gone, I have no ties to this place, and I don't feel at home here. I've never felt at home here, and that's really hard. When other circumstances, let's say like money or housing or whatever, like other family things keep you here, that is really, really hard. And I don't really know how you deal with that. I know it can just be really, really depressing. And I know it's a little harder if you're further away and you can't visit the place you love and can't just like drive over there. Like I can, you know, I can go visit Bend pretty easily whenever I want to. So that has helped a lot. Also, things that help are just simple things, like on your phone, just putting your like lock screen or your screensaver to a picture of the place you love, or your computer background, your desktop background, putting a picture of the place you love. Just envisioning you living there can make a huge difference as far as like your mental state. Just knowing in your heart that all of this will pass and it's just a few more years and you'll make the best of your current situation, but in a few years you're gonna get to live there. You're gonna get to be in the place that you love. That helps a lot, and I don't know if that makes any sense, but just like little things, thinking about it, but not like, oh God, I wish I was there. Thinking about it as, gosh, that place is so beautiful and I will be so lucky when I get to live there. Because when you get to live there, you're going to feel so amazing. It'll be life-changing, and then the past won't even seem that, you know, that bad. And then also making like the best of your current situation, getting together with friends and, you know, thinking about, hey, you know, in a couple of years when I do move to Bend or Sisters, you know, I won't get to see these friends because they'll be all the way over, you know, across the ocean. Maybe just thinking about it like that could help, I hope. So I have one more question. A lot of you asked this same question, so I will hopefully keep it pretty short. The Watching Eye 0099 from YouTube asked, what are your plans for Hike Oregon over the next 12 months? Runderfolk from Instagram asked, what are your 3 biggest goals for the upcoming year? Now Hike This from Instagram asked, what is your biggest goal for 2019 for Hike Oregon, for you personally and for hiking? Obviously, many of you wanted to know what are the plans for Hike Oregon for 2019. So I did break it down into Hike Oregon goals, like business goals, personal goals, and then hiking goals. So for my Hike Oregon business goals, I don't really have that many, but I did sit down and think about it for a little bit. And I do want to start on my second book. I already have a great idea for book number 2. So I'm super excited to get that kind of started, maybe get the outline started, because I would like to have it done in November of 2020. So I would like to at least get it started this year so that I don't have all the work to do next year. And then my second business goal is to kind of broaden the Hike Oregon exposure to not only like Oregon, but also, you know, all over the place, which I know I do with YouTube. I know a ton of you are obviously not from Oregon and are from all over the country and all over the world actually, and that is super awesome. But I do also want to start writing for other publications, which is already happening, which I'm super excited about, but just doing more of that and doing like podcast interviews and stuff like that as well. And then last but not least, of course, my third business goal for Hike Oregon is to broaden the Hike Oregon website to Southern Oregon. This has been coming for a long time, and a lot of people have been emailing and messaging, wondering and asking, when are Southern Oregon hikes coming to the website? They will be coming in 2019. In 2018, I did a bunch of Southern Oregon hikes, and I'll be doing a ton more once I live over in Bend. It is way easier to access certain parts of Southern Oregon from over on the east side of the Cascade Range. So I will be doing way more hikes and writing about all of those. So that is coming very soon. Personal goals are a little bit different. I don't really have that many. My first personal goal is obviously selling my house here in Eugene and moving to Bend. That's probably the biggest goal. It's gonna happen. It's just slowly in the works. So that is a huge goal of mine, and I cannot wait to accomplish that. So my second goal is to be less judgmental on myself. I'm really critical of my work and like sharing my work because I think it's not good enough, or I think people are going to judge me for sharing and stuff like that. I take things really personally when people judge my work. Obviously, I work really hard on editing YouTube videos and writing articles, and so when people attack that, I take it super personally because obviously Hike Oregon is my baby. So when people attack that, I take it very personally. So it is my goal to work on just not taking things so personally, being a little more proud of the work that I do, because I do work really hard and I should be really proud of what I do, but a lot of the time I'm not. I just kind of am like, oh, well, yeah, I do it, but it's actually a pretty big deal. You know, I published a book and I should be like ecstatic about that. So just being less harsh on myself. And then last but not least, obviously, I always want to work on my fitness goals. Fitness is always a huge thing for me, and I just get really inspired by my dad, who is training for Ironman, and just talking to him about his training, I was like, wow, I am so young and I can barely even do like this workout. So I talked to him on the phone a while ago about training, and ever since then I've like really stepped up my workout game, because I was like, okay, I am 31 and I can barely get this workout done, and he's end 50s and is training for Ironman. You know, he is running and swimming and biking these insane distances, and he's like, oh yeah, it was easy. And I'm like, what? This is just crazy. So I'm just so inspired by him, and I need to like kick it up a notch, right? And then last but not least, my 3 hiking goals are, I love pushing myself physically, and I have hiked 25 miles in a day. So this year I want to go ahead and push myself and do 30 miles in a day. And then another hiking goal, this could also be like a personal goal, is to solo camp. I still have yet to solo camp overnight by myself, and that is a huge goal for me to accomplish because I get so freaked out. But I already know where I'm gonna do it, and I think I can, like, if I mentally prepare myself, I think I can do it. That is a goal, to camp and sleep out there by myself. I know if you've been following me from the very beginning, you may have seen my first solo camping trip. Well, that was kind of a flop because I didn't actually spend the entire night out there. I did leave kind of around midnight, so it doesn't really count. And then last but not least, I just really want to explore the Alvord Desert and the Steens Mountain. I know there isn't a ton of hiking in the Alvord Desert, but there is a lot of hiking in the Steens, and I do want to take a trip over there probably in the late fall and explore some cool stuff over there. So that's another hiking goal of mine. This was a really long video, and I commend you if you are here at the end. You are a true true Hike Oregon family member, and I love you so much. Hike Oregon would definitely not be what it is without you guys, so I want to thank you so much for all of the support here on my channel and on Instagram and Facebook, and for joining my email list, and for signing up for the membership, for buying my book, all of those things. Thank you so much. This was a huge year for Hike Oregon, and it could not have happened without you guys. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them down in the bottom. I'll probably just collect them for the next Q&A video when I do that here in a couple of months. Check me out over on Instagram. That's where I share all of the awesome photos that I take of the trails and all of the hikes that I do on weekends. And if you're interested in hiking and backpacking here in this amazing state of Oregon, check out my website, hikeoregon.net, and you'll get tons of hiking and backpacking information there. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will catch you on the next adventure.